This week, in case you didn't notice it, began with International Women's Day. It's been celebrated throughout the week, including in South Africa and many parts of the world. And it even has an international website, which if any of you had looked at, you would have seen what it says. And I'm going to quote, I actually took it down. It says, "Suffragettes campaign for women's right to vote. The word suffragette is derived from the word suffrage, meaning the right to vote. International Women's Day honors the work of suffragettes, celebrates women's success, and reminds us of inequities still to be redressed." It's a complete distortion on the origins of Women's Day. We have a classic example, if you're talking about votes, in South Africa in 1930. And those who were campaigning for votes for white women finally succeeded. But many of them, perhaps most, were also the very people who supported the removal of votes for the black men who were still on the common voters roll. And they finally succeeded in removing them by 1936. Now, this website, however, does also say, yes, that International Women's Day began in 1911, which indeed it did. But it belongs to the labour movement, and specifically to garment workers, because it was triggered by a strike in 1908 by garment workers, mainly women, in the United States, in New York. And at the founding conference, the Russian revolutionary Alexandra Kollontai made it quite clear what International Women's Day should stand for. She said, "It makes no matter who is the master, a man or a woman. They were for human liberation." And within weeks of that 1911 demonstration, celebrations around a number of countries around the world, there was a disastrous fire in the shirtwaist factory in New York. 123 women and 23 men, all garment workers, perished. This gave a huge boost to International Women's Day. But you know, think back now just 2 years. Go back to April, nearly 3 years now, April 2013. More than 1,000 garment workers, almost all of them again women, died in Rana Plaza in Bangladesh. Not much mention of that in International Women's Day, yet it is the day that belongs to the garment workers. So I looked at it. I decided in my Inside Labour column this week, which you can read on this platform, Fin24 tomorrow, and in the City Press, page 2 of the business section on Sunday, I would look at the garment industry and how little has changed in more than a century. The same poverty wages, the same disgusting and appalling conditions still apply for millions of people. At the same time, the garment industry is perhaps one of the best illustrations of what globalization really means for millions of workers and for economies right around the world. It's a very good example, and also an example of the race to the bottom. And this is what I will reflect in this column. And it gives you plenty, I think, of food for thought, plenty of areas for discussion and debate, which of course you're welcome to do and invited to do on this platform through editor@fin24.com. That's editor@fin24.com. And I really look forward to seeing what you have to say about this and the way that something like International Women's Day, something that belongs to the labour movement, that is celebrated and should be celebrated for garment workers, how little has changed over the years. There's plenty to think about. Let's hear from you. And for me, that's all for this week. Cheers.